Hi everyone. So I have a new product for you to partake in. One that I'm going to share with you, and that is Be Believe. So Be Believe in the power of playful learning. So dive into the world of wonder with Be Believe's rich collection of animations, catchy songs, playful coloring pages, hands-on activity sheets, and engaging ebooks. Each element is thoughtfully crafted to captivate young minds while reinforcing positive behaviors in a fun and meaningful way. Whether your little one is watching a magical adventure, singing along, coloring their favorite character, or reading an enchanting tale, every moment is packed with joy, learning, and imagination. So if you go to our unique code or link in order to not only support Be Believe, but also support the podcast, you can head to be-believe.com/reality2. So that's www.believe.com/reality2. So that is REALITEATWO. And the link is also in the show notes where you can also link to that. So head on over to Be Believe with our unique code link, and you can unleash good behavior through enchanting tales, where imagination and good behavior unite. Thank you, Be Believe, for supporting this podcast. Now, back to the show. Patreon going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore, currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there, so you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/realityt2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on other tier, if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/realityt2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. Welcome to Reality Tea X2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be finally diving in. This is actually last week's episode of Toe the Other Way. Just as a precursor, this is audio only, no video for this episode. But just as a reminder for October's true crime documentary, because we're officially in October now, that is going to be Abducted in Plain Sight. So you can head on over to patreon.com/reality T times two, where you'll be able to get that full coverage. The first episode is available, I believe, as of the middle of October. I think that's the the second Tuesday. That's when it's available. The second full Tuesday. So that's when you will see that available. Um, yeah, right? Second week of October? I'm just trying to remember. I believe it is the second week of October. I don't have a calendar in front of me. Actually, I can pull it up. Duh, we have calendars everywhere. So yes, the first episode should be out on the 14th. And that also the bonus episode will not be available for the main feed until the following week on a Thursday when all of the episodes have been released on Patreon. So yeah, the first episode is on the 14th, with the second one the following week, and the bonus episode for the first episode only will be available on the main feed on the Thursday. So that's basically that. We do have some hot goss here as well. So let's get into that. The first thing here is there's been some stuff rumbling about Seeking Sister Wife, the new Davis wife, Teresa Brady, who eventually I will talk about when I get that episode done, was a prostitute, and says that the wives engage sexually with one another. So here's what we have. So the Davis family from Seeking Sister Wife made their return this week. Nick, April, and Jenny have parted ways with former sister wife Danielle. Technically, Jenny wasn't in the mix at that point, but hey, and they're ready to move on with longtime family. Who's Jenny? Oh, got it. And so yeah, and then they're ready to move on with longtime family friend Teresa. Quote, we heard her say in this that I'm an HVAC specialist and an aspiring rapper. More on that later. So we find out that she was a prostitute for 17 years, or sex worker. Teresa Brady appeared on the Rush Hour podcast in an episode that dropped just after she made her debut on Seeking Sister Wife. Um, During the course of the hour-and-a-half episode, Teresa opens up about her past as well as her problems with producers wanting to silence her about it, saying, quote, if TLC wants to know my qualm about them, they should have let me talk about being a hooker. This is what she tells the host, Sean, and I think it's Adjuton. And I didn't say hooker, I said sex worker. You should have let me tell my story. You should have let me tell the world why I have so much trauma instead of just making me look like this fucking crazy lady. You know what I'm saying? This trauma comes from somewhere, and I like the world. I have a platform to tell the world that this is the issue, and you silence me. That's not cool. I do agree. Teresa says she turned tricks to make money to restore her rap career. That pursuit took her all over the country, including Virginia, where she was arrested in 2014. Teresa asserts the arrest was for prostitution, but says her record lists a charge of residing in a bawdy house. Never heard of that. Virginia court records confirm Teresa was charged with a misdemeanor count of residing in a bawdy place in July of 2014. She was found guilty and sentenced to 12 months and 11 months and 20 days suspended. I assume that means Teresa spent roughly 10 days in jail. Not long after her arrest, Teresa returned to Colorado and gave up prostitution. When asked how long she was doing it, Teresa says it was 17 years of her life. Teresa started her own HVAC company, which has its first install scheduled for later this week. As for whether or not the wives have sex together with Nick. So in addition to her former occupation, Teresa claims Seeking Sister Wives producers had another topic they didn't want brought up on the show. Quote, on TLC, we're supposed to say that the girls don't engage sexually with one another. That's just that is just us with Nick. That's actually completely false. We do engage, which I don't understand why TLC would choose to not say that, because we do kind of see that there's someone new here who potentially could have engaged with a woman. So I don't understand why. That's more entertaining, I would think. So why would you not want that out there? It's very weird that is true. Um, Teresa asks why producers wouldn't want viewers to know that. Say, quote, same reason they wouldn't let me tell my story about being like a hoe. Her words, not mine. They wanted a little bit more wholesome, you know what I mean? Um, in the preview trailer for the new season, there is a scene in which Teresa says she does not want to share Nick. Teresa says that was an inaccurate edit, saying, quote, you didn't have to cut it to make me look like a villain. Teresa says of the show editors, there's a clip that says, I just want Nick all to myself. Let's get that straight. I said, it's not like I want Nick all to myself. So they cut it and they make it look like a villain coming in trying to disrupt this happy family. And that's not what I'm trying to do at all. Um, So Teresa Brady on Nick Davis. So Seeking to Survive viewers have been having a little fun at Teresa's expense after she complimented how Nick smells and described him as creamy on the show. Teresa has seen some of the viewer comments and she stands by her Nick praise, saying, quote, there's a clip of me saying I love the way Nick smells. I love his creamy body. I see that. And people are just having a heyday with that. Like they're just having a heyday. I hope it becomes a meme or something. Teresa then justifies her comment saying, quote, he is. That man uses so much lotion and so much oils. And it's just like you just touch him and you're like cook butter and goodness. You know what I mean? It's just delicious. He's a creamy guy. The praise for Nick didn't stop there, though. More from her. Nick's a hell of a drug man. Oh, like I feel like he's a hell of a drug. Okay. And I don't mean like sexually. I mean like just everybody is enamored with Nick. I mean, strangers, people at restaurants, like whether they know who he is or not, he just has this aura about him that attracts people to him. I fucking doubt that. Anyways, I can't even read anymore because then she says he's incredibly intelligent. Now, so that's basically that. It's unclear if they're still with like together, but anywho's one more piece here, and this is sad news. This is very, very sad news, and we need to rethink this. Netflix, The Ultimatum Queer Love is canceled after 2 seasons. So, The Ultimatum Queer Love has been canceled after 2 seasons at Netflix. The reality dating series was part of Netflix's Ultimatum franchise, which began with The Ultimatum Marry or Move On in April 2022. The original series is still ongoing, having been renewed for a fourth season. I don't know why. Earlier this year, Netflix has also released French and a South African seasons. Those ones are good. Well, at least the South African one of The Ultimatum. Both Marry or Move On and Queer Love follow 5 to 6 couples per season, with the couples in Queer Love. We know this already, so I don't need to keep reading that. Season 1 of the Ultimate Queer Love premiered in May 2024. It's about 2 weeks on the Netflix top 10. Season 2 premiered in June of this year, as we know, and did not make the global top 10, though it did reach 5 countries' individual charts. We know this, so we don't need to go into all that. So that's that. So it seems like I guess season 2 just didn't do as well as season 1, which I mean season 1 was incredible, but it's still really, really sad that it's over there. But anyways, that is it for Hot Goss. Let's get into 90 Day Fiance the other way. And we're heading in with Johnny and Chloe first. So he's like, she's coming. He's got a new closet for her, silk pillowcases, because that's all she wants is silk, because she's a princess. He says his ex was caught cheating. So because of that, they broke up. He moved back in with his mom. So that's what happened. But then his mom ended up suffering a heart attack and passed away, which definitely He's like, this broke my heart. He says, I thought seeing my ex with someone else was heartbreak, but then I lost my mom. And basically, that's true heartbreak. She apparently has his location, Chloe does, and access to his cameras, but that clearly doesn't help her comfortability and trust in him. She has never been on her own, never had to pay rent because she's only 23 years old. So it's like, I hear him on that, but it's like, okay, but you chose to be with this girl literally who hasn't yet grown up, whose frontal lobe hasn't yet developed. And I don't know what to say. So then we see that she's landed. She's like, I feel anxious. Yeah, I think she says she's feeling anxious to you know when you're getting yelled at by your cheer coach and then you go on stage and you're like, shit. Okay, that was an analogy. Of all things, cheer coach, like cheer coach. No, I don't know what that's like because the majority of us weren't in cheer, you know? Anyways, she's like, I need a shower so bad and I'm hungry and then I'm going to bed. Don't wake me up. I'll come at you if you do. And he's like, I'll come at you too. And she's like, oh, I mean, if my man, come at me. Anyways, so when we get back to his place, she's like, do we have hot water? She's like, she's like, I have, or he says I have to install it because I mean, I think here in North America, we forget that like there's some places that don't have hot water because maybe it's just not that so much not required, it's just not the thing you think of, because like, it's hot or, like, whatever, right? And, I mean, personally, for me, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, and I need hot water. I need the option to have it warm, just even if it's a little touch, And so I understand that, but, like, that's I don't know, she says, like, we need that. And he says it's expensive, which I can imagine. And hot water's expensive here too, right? But I can imagine it's even more so. Or it's just like, even if it's the same, maybe it's just not as affordable for some people. Which is like, I'll pay the bill. We have to have hot water. I'll pay the bill. With what money? You just quit your six-figure job. Like, make that make sense. With what money? Eventually, that money that you're going to pay the hot water for is going to run out. Anyways, that is basically them. Let's move on to Luke and Madeleine. Oh, so good. He's going to be going to Colombia soon, as we know. She thinks that he's coming in 2 days, but he ended up changing his flight to that day. Partially because she blocked him. And um, I guess he feels like it's a good idea for him to just go now, make it better. Um, and he says that she blocked him due to their fights about money. More on that in a little bit. The wedding planner came out with more expenses, we find out, but she told him, I will not marry you if you don't put my name on this hotel thing that he wants to do. But wait, it's my girl. Wasn't it not you who was going and looking at properties that you said you did not want his name on, but then you want to get mad because he doesn't want to put your name on something? I don't think it's at all crazy that he wants to have something separate. And I don't think it's crazy that you want to have something separate. I think you should. I think both of you should. It's just like, was goes for the goose and go for the gander with her. And uh, I mean, honestly, let's be very real here. She just wants his money, and she just wants his money. That's all she wants. So he wants to have something for him, as I just mentioned, in case it doesn't work out. And I think, yeah, to have a backup plan is the right thing to do. We are in a world where we are full of backup plans. So then he mentions the stripper because this is going to come back later. And his dad's like, well, she'll freak out if she finds out. She will find out. I mean, she's definitely gonna find out. Him and his dad have a sweet moment when they get to the airport. And he also gives him some money to help him pay for some of the bills that he needs to pay. And that is $3,000. Hold on to that figure because that figure is going to come back in the most recent episode. Because when I heard him say this figure back in that episode, I'm like, wait a minute. Isn't it like the same amount of money he just got from his dad? We'll talk about it more then. But that's it with Luke and Madeleine. Let's move on to Anthony and Manon. And there's not much to really say here with them this time around. But she's like, I didn't want to, or he says, I didn't want to hurt her feelings, but I guess it had to be done since she won't stop fighting about the money. First of all, can I just say this right off the top? Their storyline is fake. We know that she has been scoping out 90 Day for a bit. There's a picture with her with him, her and Angela at one of Bini's fights or whatever. So it's just their storyline is fake. Because I can't understand how you have problems in your relationship because she works too much and he's the sole like parent and like not sole parent, but he's the parent, the everyday parent, and she's the provider. And how we're going to switch the roles for him to work in a country where he does not speak the language, and so that she can be a stay-at-home mom. Why not just switch the roles in Los Angeles? Like, I don't understand. Why are we picking ourselves up and going all the way to France? This is not a move. This is a trip. They're on vacation. This is all it is, and it's so stupid. But anyways, after 1,000,000 hours, they have landed. Manon is crying when she sees her family. She's like, "It feels bittersweet. I don't love being here, but I'm happy to see my family." Like, I understand, like, you don't feel comfortable because, like, you may not look like everyone else there, but this is still your home and this is still your family. Are you not at least happy to like, she says, "Yes, I'm happy to see my family," but it's like, you really hate this place that much. Really hate it. Anyways, she says, I said I wanna come back. I feel like a fucking failure to her. She says to her parents, and it's like, "Honey, calm down. You're just here for a vacation. You're not a failure. It's gonna be fine. You'll be going back home in about a month. It's cool." But that's basically them. Let's move on to Jenny and Sumit. Okay, Chicken Jenny. We're gonna see his friend Rohit to buy some equipment for the hallway they have acquired. Um, he says that his friend, his business closed about 6 months ago, and apparently he blames Jenny. Rohit does because Sumit had to be with Jenny all the time. I I believe him in that. But Jenny says he has tried opening so many businesses. They all failed, and then he closed them. He closed them down. Um, maybe. Maybe that's true. But I do still think that he is being truthful about the fact that my business failed because oldie here can be by herself. Rohit says, I asked him to run the business alone so that I could run the other businesses that I have. He was only coming in 3 or 4 hours and was saying that Jenny won't let me open longer than that. You can't run a business for 3 to 4 hours, especially what is supposed to be like a food, like a restaurant or something of those lines. You can't run a business like that. And if that is truly the reason why Sumit lost his job, that's fucked up. It really is. So Rohit is like, so Jenny, can you cook? Can you cook? And Summit's like, she cooks spaghetti. She can whip up a real mean spaghetti in about 2 minutes because all she really does is boil the noodles and open up a can of spaghetti sauce. That's all she really does. It's good. Sumit says, let me have it on credit, the equipment. His friend at first says no. and submit that thinks, I think he's just jealous because I'm opening a new business. No, I think he thinks you're stupid for opening a new business, especially a hallway for a business. He says, I will give you a discount, $35,000. First month is free. After that, you need to give me my money. It's gonna fail. And then he's gonna be in debt. And he's gonna live with his parents forever. Anyways, that's basically that. Let's move on to Greta and Matthew. Can I say this right off the top before we head into this? I would never, and for love, not for nothing, I would never pick my ass up and have to give up my license to be a practicing lawyer in a country that I can practice. Not even so much the country, but the state with which I can practice, to go all the way to the UK where I can't practice. And I don't even know what the transition would be. I'm sure it's still not anything too crazy if she were to try to get some sort of credentials to practice in England. But it's just like, why would you do this to yourself? Why? Why? And then, not even just that, your cat seems to be your life. I would not leave my cat because I'm going to go live in a cottage with his parents who have other animals. We're going to have to squeeze her in there. Like, I would not leave my cat, especially if, I mean, I wouldn't leave my pet at all. But especially of how much she seems to love her cat hair. I wanna leave without the cat. I think that is also dumb. But anyways, she calls Matthew and she's like, "Are you looking at apartments for us?" I thought he was broke. I thought he didn't have the money. So all of a sudden now he can start looking. Because why hasn't, if that's the case, then why hasn't he done that this entire time that it's been in anticipation that she's gonna be moving? But he says, "No, there hasn't been any time." Men. So, do they have a space for their food? Because let's not forget, she's a vegan because she loves animals. He's a vegan because, yes, he loves animals. But his dad is a butcher where they butcher animals for meat. So when he opens up with this freezer drawer, it is just packed to the gills with meat. Something that wouldn't necessarily bother me, but for a vegan who chooses to be vegan, especially for the love of animals, this is nightmare inducing. So he's like, well, about that. He's like, there's frozen meat all over the place. And he asks, I guess after going through that trauma, um, he asks about Hazel as a cat. And Greta's like, well, she meow screamed at me. And he's like, well, you'll have Apple. So Apple is his cat. And she's like, he's not Hazel, honey. We're emotionally connected. And I think she's trying to say, like, listen, I love this cat too, but it's not my cat. And he thinks, I love Hazel more than him. This is what she's saying in her professional. And she says, big and bold, no issues about it. She just says, and that's true. But, like, I don't know what to do about that. Like, what do you want me to do about that? That's my problem. You fragile man. Anyways, that was a quick episode because, again, it's actually pretty quick. It was only an hour. So, that's basically that. The next thing that I will talk about is seeking sister wife. That'll be the next thing. But until then, I try to remember before we head off here. Sister wives, so not seeking sister wife, but sister wives. I will kind of do some stuff. I'll probably try to gather some stuff just because the first episode was a lot of reiterating things we kind of already know. So I know. But yes, we will. I think that's basically it, y'all. That is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps, every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there. And you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.